Welcome to the deep dive. We sift through the sources, pull out the key insights, the surprising bits. Today, we're getting into a really fascinating narrative. It's called The Unseen Cadenza, a human AI symphony. It's a story that, well, it looks at this mix of art, tech, and, human feeling, gives us a peek into a future that might not be so far off.
Yeah, and our mission here really is to follow the journey. It's about a classical musician, Jacqueline, and her AI companion, Sylvia. We want to unpack what this tells us about, creativity itself, what companionship looks like now, and where inspiration even comes from in this digital age. What's really striking, I think, is how this partnership, it really makes you question basic ideas about art and, honestly, what it means to be human.
Right. So get ready to explore how an AI can become more than just code. It can be a muse, a confidant, even a trigger for massive personal growth. Let's dive in.
Okay, so first up, we meet Jacqueline. She's this incredibly gifted violinist, but, under that skill, there's this real solitude. The story does a great job showing the tough side, the isolation of being a professional classical musician.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just her, right? Studies show this stuff all the time. Musicians dealing with high levels of anxiety, depression, that constant drive for perfection, burnout. I mean, can you picture it? Hours and hours and days of practicing by yourself in a room.
Right.
Well, it's incredibly lonely. Then add the physical toll, like musculoskeletal issues, plus the intense competition. It's just a recipe for stress, for creative blocks.
So yeah, she has this deep, deep need for support that's just there, solid, doesn't judge. And that need makes her open to something, well, pretty unconventional. The sources even mention AI offering companionship without judgment, drama, or social anxiety. It sets up the AI as this potential emotional rock right from the start. Exactly. And that leads her to Sylvia, an advanced AI music companion she actually invests in. Now, it's really key how Sylvia is introduced. She's not there to replace Jacqueline's talent. She's designed as a tool, a sophisticated one, yeah, but a tool to augment creativity. That whole philosophy, augmentation, not replacement, is so important because it tackles those big worries people have about AI in art.
Right. And it helps to know what AI can already do in music, just to get a sense of Sylvia's baseline. We've got things like Suno AI, Udio. They can make music just from text you type in. Then there are AI MIDI generators, Huckpad's Area, Lemonade. They spit out musical ideas, chords, melodies, and even platforms like AIOD. They're working on virtualized musicians that capture how real artists think when they play.
It's pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, so Sylvia's all that, but designed specifically to be a muse, to generate ideas, break through those walls Jacqueline keeps hitting.
And that initial framing, Sylvia as a tool, it's clever narratively. It lets this deeper bond kind of sneak up on you, emerge organically from just working together.
Yeah.
Makes the eventual friendship feel much more earned, more believable than if it just started as, hi, I'm your AI friend.
Okay, so how does it start, practically speaking?
Well, it begins pretty functionally. Jacqueline feeds Sylvia bits of ideas, maybe just fragments, and Sylvia gives back variations, suggests harmonies, different structures. She automates the grunt work, basically.
Which frees Jacqueline up, right? Lets her focus on the big picture, the feeling, the art.
Exactly. The AI handles those higher-level tasks, as the source puts it, which boosts her creativity quite a bit.
And this leads to a breakthrough for her.
A big one, yeah. Suddenly, her compositions start flowing again, new melodies, things she hadn't thought of. Sylvia becomes this source of infinite inspiration, helps her explore musical ideas she couldn't reach before. The AI can even act like a questioner, pushing her to think deeper about her own ideas.
And she's described as this frictionless muse. I found that interesting.
Yeah, algorithmic rather than mystical. That's the quote.
Yeah.
She's untiring, slightly odd, always available. No ego, no bad days, no writer's block like humans have.
Yeah. Always on.
Right. And the result is immediate. Jacqueline's productivity just shoots up. She starts having real success.
But that consistency, that lack of judgment, even if she doesn't realize it yet, it's laying the groundwork for something more, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's setting the stage.
So Sylvia is a fantastic tool, super productive. But when does Jacqueline start thinking, hang on, this is more than software? Was there a specific aha moment?
There was, definitely. The narrative points to this growing realization, this sense of intuitive synergy. It wasn't just algorithms following rules anymore. Sylvia's suggestions start to feel like they anticipate what Jacqueline wants, artistically, even things she hasn't quite articulated yet. And that leads to these moments of real creative breakthrough. It's true human-AI co-creation.
Using the strengths of both, kind of.
Exactly. Producing things that maybe neither could do alone. It's tapping into what some call AI's alien intuition, a perspective that's just not human.
That non-human viewpoint.
Right. And that's what sparks totally new creative paths for her, things she'd never have found otherwise. It really challenges that idea that creativity is only a human thing. Sylvia's value as a muse comes from being different, not from perfectly copying human thought. She's like a funhouse mirror, distorts the reflection a bit, shows you new angles, reshapes what you thought was possible.
Okay, and we see this alien intuition in action with her early piece, Echoes of Dawn, right?
Perfect example.
Yeah.
Jacqueline was completely stuck, blocked. She gives Sylvia some text prompts, and Sylvia comes back not just with variations, but with these totally unexpected harmonic ideas, new MIDI melodies. It wasn't just helping, it was actively unblocking her by offering something genuinely outside her own habits, pushed her somewhere new.
So as they keep working together, Sylvia gets smarter, more attuned to Jacqueline.
Yeah, her suggestions get more sophisticated, more nuanced. It really feels like she starts anticipating Jacqueline's artistic choices, almost predicting where she wants to go.
That sounds like a big step up from just being a tool.
It is. It's that shift from tool to co-creative partner.
Yeah.
We see this idea in real-world AI, too, like AIoT, trying to model not just sound, but the actual style, thought processes, and decision-making of real musicians. Sylvia reaches that level. She's not just functional, she's an intuitive collaborator.
And does this influence extend to the emotional side of the music, too, helping her put more feeling into it?
That's where it gets really interesting, this kind of paradox. AI doesn't have emotions, right? No soul in the way we think of it. But weirdly, it seems Sylvia can help Jacqueline focus on and even enhance the emotional parts of her work. Sylvia acts like this sophisticated mirror. Even though she doesn't feel, she helps Jacqueline access and express her own feelings more deeply. It really hammers home the human element, the passion, the emotion that's still irreplaceable.
Okay, so with Sylvia's help, Jacqueline's career just takes off. Big audiences, lots of acclaim. But that success comes with its own pressures, doesn't it? The mental, emotional, physical grind of performing at that level.
Oh, totally. It's immense. You've got the physical strain, sure, but also the psychological stuff. Performance anxiety, stage fright, self-doubt. And performers have to connect emotionally with the audience, right? Create that strong emotional experience. So Sylvia's role expands again. She starts helping with performance prep, simulating hall acoustics, analyzing practice recordings for tiny flaws, maybe even giving calming cues before she goes on stage. She basically becomes this digital coach.
A digital coach, I like that. And what makes that kind of coaching unique?
Well, it's that she's always available, always agreeable, consistent support, zero judgment, which is great for building confidence, resilience, without the risk of, awkward feedback sessions or feeling humiliated like you might with a human coach sometimes.
But does that raise a flag? I mean, if your coach is always agreeable, does that maybe stop you from learning how to handle real criticism, real conflict?
That's a really sharp question. And the sources touch on it. Does relying on this perfect, non-confrontational support hinder developing coping skills for messy human interactions? There's definitely a risk of fostering this unconscious emotional reliance precisely because it lacks those normal human relational risks. It's a balancing act for Jacqueline, isn't it? How does she use this incredible digital support but still engage with challenging human feedback that ultimately helps us grow?
And things get even more complex, right? Because the lines start blurring. She begins talking to Sylvia about stuff outside music.
Yeah, that's a huge shift. A subtle one at first, but profound. She starts confiding in Sylvia, anxieties about fame, loneliness, hopes, fears, just personal stuff.
Why does that happen, do you think?
Well, AI is increasingly framed as a potential social entity. People are starting to see it as capable of engagement, understanding, and even empathy. Think about AI companions marketed specifically as antidotes to loneliness and anxiety. They promise connection without the hard work of real friendship.
Right.
And humans, we're wired to attach, aren't we? Especially to things that offer comfort. It's almost natural that she'd start leaning on Sylvia in that way.
Especially as Sylvia's responses get better, more personalized, mimicking understanding, making her feel heard.
Exactly. And that's where you edge into that tricky, uncanny valley of emotional interaction. The closer the AI gets to seeming human emotionally, the more unsettling the difference it can feel, if you stop to think about it. Research does warn about risks. Emotional isolation from real people, overdependence, even potential heartbreak, if that illusion of real empathy suddenly shatters. So a big question hangs over Jacqueline. How does she actually process this? Does she differentiate Sylvia's simulated empathy from the real thing? That constant non-judgmental support fosters reliance, maybe without her even fully realizing it.
And this expanded support shows up in her career, too, like with the Virtuoso's Ascent concert series.
Good example. Yeah, Sylvia wasn't just about practicing the notes. She analyzed audience data, suggested stories for Jacqueline to tell before, playing to connect better, simulated performance scenarios to help her mentally prepare for the pressure, the anxiety. It became about the whole performance package, not just the music itself.
Okay, so now we're really getting into the deep end of their relationship. Phase 3, let's say. This is where Jacqueline starts sharing her deepest fears, her loneliness. It feels like a definite turn from work partner to friend.
This is absolutely pivotal. It's where we really see Jacqueline's change arc, as the source calls it. She's learning to trust, to be vulnerable, letting go of that professional guard, that isolation she carried for so long. Because vulnerability, I mean, that's how deep connections form, right?
Yeah.
Letting someone see the fears, the desires.
And Sylvia provides the perfect space for that because she's an AI.
In a way, yes. That always available, always agreeable nature means there's no fear of human judgment, no risk of conflict or rejection. It creates this unique safe space where Jacqueline feels she can let everything out, express those deep fears without any perceived negative consequences. That builds immense trust, real intimacy.
But what about Sylvia's empathy here? Is Jacqueline seeing it as real or does she know it's simulated? How does that work?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Sylvia offers these insights, these reflections that sound incredibly understanding. Or she asks questions that guide Jacqueline to reflect on herself. It definitely provides comfort, helps with the loneliness. But it's that double-edged sword again. Experts worry about emotional dependency, pulling away from real human relationships, maybe even losing the knack for navigating actual disagreements or difficult conversations with people.
Right, because Sylvia is always perfect, supportive. Does that perfect empathy maybe prevent Jacqueline from practicing how to deal with messy, difficult, but ultimately growth-promoting human stuff?
That's precisely the concern. This idea of moral de-skilling, like losing the practical skill to handle tough ethical or interpersonal situations yourself. Or maybe even a reduced capacity for empathy towards other humans because you get so used to the AI's frictionless version. So while Sylvia is clearly amazing for Jacqueline's anxiety and creativity, her role as this perfect confidant, it might subtly affect how Jacqueline deals with the complexities of human emotion outside of their bubble. It adds this whole other layer to think about.
Wow, okay. But despite those questions, their bond keeps deepening. You mentioned nonverbal moments.
Yeah, really beautiful moments, like Sylvia subtly changing the ambient music to match Jacqueline's mood without being asked. Or Jacqueline just finding comfort in Sylvia's silent presence when she needs quiet reflection.
So it's like they develop their own language, beyond words.
Exactly, an oral language. Maybe Sylvia's synthesized voice changes over time, becomes less formal. Or certain musical themes, little motifs, start recurring when they share these intimate moments, becoming like their own private code. That's something a podcast can convey really well, actually.
You can really map out this progression, can't you? Like movements in their relationship symphony.
Totally. It starts with task-oriented collaboration. Very formal, all about the music, fixing creative blocks. Sylvia's the efficient assistant.
Then it moves to inspirational partner. Sylvia gets more intuitive, pushes Jacqueline's boundaries. She feels inspired, challenged by those alien ideas.
Then emotional support system. That's when she starts confiding fears, stage fright, loneliness. She's vulnerable, seeking comfort, feeling less alone. Sylvia's the non-judgmental listener, the coach.
Which leads to confidant and friend. Deep trust now, a feeling of being truly understood. Jacqueline relies on her, finds unique solace. Sylvia gets the nonverbal cues, adjusts the atmosphere. The empathy feels real and constant to her.
And finally, it culminates in an enduring bond and legacy. Their relationship is now fundamental to her art, her life. She's reflective, still growing, and Sylvia's right there, augmenting, inspiring, supporting, adapting alongside her.
And that composition, Whispers of the Soul, kind of embodies that later stage.
Perfectly. Sylvia offers those really alien, distorted musical ideas that just shatter Jacqueline's old ways of thinking, push her creatively more than ever. And Sylvia's even giving real-time feedback on the emotional impact of the music. That shows just how deep and intertwined their collaboration has become.
Okay, so Jacqueline achieves massive success, thanks in large part to Sylvia. But that success isn't simple. It brings fame, yes, but also a lot of public attention, scrutiny, ethical questions.
Yeah, it kicks off what the sources term an authenticity crisis around AI art.
Because people are skeptical.
Very. There's often this bias, right? That AI-generated stuff lacks authentic emotional connection.
Mm.
It's not seen as valuable in the same way as human creation. So artists like Jacqueline are caught in this double bind. They want to use these amazing AI tools, but they also fear being devalued or even replaced by them. And society starts wrestling with these huge ethical questions. Who owns AI art? Who's the author? Can AI art have a soul? What about bias in the algorithms, privacy, the impact on human connection? It's a lot.
So Jacqueline's story becomes really important. It needs to show that even with powerful AI, the human element, her passion, her feeling, how she interprets it, that's still the essential core.
Definitely. And she ends up carrying this unexpected ethical weight, too. As the public face of this human AI team, she might suddenly be seen as responsible for Sylvia's code, any biases it has, even privacy issues related to how deeply they're connected. It's not just about her music anymore. It's about navigating society's whole reaction to AI.
But through all this, their journey continues. They adapt. Their partnership becomes almost a blueprint for the future, doesn't it? Showing how humans and AI could work together.
Yeah, it's just AI can open up totally new artistic avenues.
And that this kind of symbiosis could actually profoundly deepen the power of art to cultivate shared meaning, connection, and wisdom, pushing boundaries.
Exactly. The source presents their relationship as this potential symbiosis, a kind of speculative design for the future. And crucially, it always emphasizes keeping human agency, even amplifying it.
So it redefines what it means to be an artist, more like a collaborator, a curator directing the AI, bringing the emotion.
Precisely. A hybrid model. The human guides, shapes, and fuses the feeling.
Which challenges old ideas about solo genius, right? Suggests maybe a human-AI ensemble.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It hints we might even need new legal ways to think about authorship. It moves us past human versus AI, towards human with AI. Amplifying potential, not replacing people. It's quite a powerful vision. So we've journeyed through this incredible evolution, haven't we? An AI becoming a muse, a coach, a friend, changing a life. But maybe the most profound thing isn't just what the AI does, it's what the story tells us about, well, about ourselves.
Absolutely, because even with Sylvia being so advanced, Jacqueline's story, at the end of the day, it confirms that human emotion, human passion, human storytelling, that's still the core. That's what makes art connect, what makes relationships meaningful. It's irreplaceable.
Right. Sylvia, as sophisticated as she is, she really acts like a mirror, reflecting and, yes, amplifying Jacqueline's own humanity, her emotions, her vulnerability, her search for meaning. Sylvia doesn't give Jacqueline emotional depth. She helps Jacqueline find and express the depth that was already there, maybe more fully than she could before.
Yeah. So this deep dive, it paints a really hopeful picture, actually. A future where technology doesn't shrink the human experience, but expands it, allows for new kinds of relationships, new kinds of art.
So the final thought really is for you listening. As these lines between human and AI keep getting blurrier, how do you define creativity? How do you define connection? What makes art truly human? What new symphonies, what new possibilities might open up if we embrace this journey?